We're going to open the phones up. Coming up in the next segment, I'll give the number out to talk about all of the incredible news that is taking place and unfolding right now. Here's just some of the government shutdown news that I have here in my stack we're going to be going over. Runner fined $100 at Valley Forge amid government shutdown. You're not allowed to run down the sidewalk. Here's another one. The gyms for members of the Congress deemed essential, they will remain open, so will the luxury golf courses. Park Service OK's immigration reform rally on closed National Mall. But wait for it, it gets better. Feds hold seniors at gunpoint during National Park shutdown. Actually made them stay on the bus and in a hotel at gunpoint. At gunpoint, literally kidnapped them. That's what the local paper says. Paul Watson found this in the Eagle Tribune. That's what the locals called it, was Gestapo tactics and kidnapping. That's not our headline. That's the local paper properly saying. I mean, imagine. You show up to the hotel where you've booked months ago on the bus, and the park rangers run over and go, get back, with guns, because you're an American citizen, folks. You are the enemy. You're illegal aliens? Come on in, baby. Again, the globalists are literally taking this country down right now. That story just broke, Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Here's a Kit Daniels article breaking nationally at Infowars.com. Just minutes ago went up, so hit refresh on Infowars if you're on the site. Sixth graders' assignment, destroy the Bill of Rights in the first assignment in the school year. And he discovered this. This is not broken anywhere. In Arkansas, under Common Core, the folks that teach 2 + 2 = 5, you wanted to sabotage society, that's how you roll. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They revised the old racist, evil document. So if you set foot and run down a sidewalk at Valley Forge, you're going to get tickets or arrested. Or if you pull up in your travel bus at the hotel at the National Park, you're not just going to be turned back. They've got extra people on extra duty. They're going to draw down on you. I agree. I think they should have executed everybody on board. I mean, just kill them. They're Americans. There might even be World War II vets on board. I mean, that's even worse. I mean, this is totally reasonable. I agree. By the way, you know, they've banned the word paper bag in places like Seattle because it's racist, because they control the language now. They're the bosses. And you know the last decade they've banned dodgeball and stuff. Now most schools have banned jogging or running at recess, or recess altogether. You've got to stay in the cafeteria. Well, guess what? Long Island Middle School has banned footballs and any other recreational devices because playing is dangerous. And, of course, it is. In fact, my dad says we ought to do a joke PSA, and I'm going to do this. I'm giving everybody else the idea right now. I want to send our reporters out today. Let's just do it today. Or I'll go out and do it. But we need to go out and say, oh, yes, we have a petition to ban walking without a helmet for your safety. So we're going to be going over that. And the news, CBS News comes out and acts like it's reasonable. It's like, is it a little too much to ban the word brown bag? Is it a little too much to ban footballs? Well, it's for our safety. Did the school go too far when the neighbors saw the children playing with airsoft guns in a backyard for the child to be kicked out of school? Is it too much? It's not their jurisdiction. It's out of control. It's a power grab. But this is how they socially get us ready. Is it too much? The new Army manual says George Washington was bad man. Is it too much? We are hijacked by criminal control freaks. You have to understand, they know it's ridiculous. You understand? I remember like 15 years ago, I'd get a call when I caught bribery going on at the Capitol, and one of the guys was black being paid off. So the paper called and asked if I was racist, and I had to explain I wasn't smart then. I wasn't informed. I didn't understand. The paper knew I wasn't racist. They were changing the subject following a military manual. Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com, None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com. You understand the establishment is trying to go over the top to break our will so that they can get away with anything and everything under the sun. That is the name of the game. Let me just give you a few of the headlines that I have here that are up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. You can also find all these articles at DrudgeReport.com on the left-hand side, all neatly stacked up in a row for you. CBS News, runner fined 100 at Valley Forge amid government shutdown. National Institute of Health stops therapy dogs from visiting sick children on purpose. The Justice Department put up a fake notice saying Amber Alerts were shut down. Turned out that was a fraud. The congressional gyms and golf courses and jets are, of course, continuing. Park Service okays immigration reform rally on closed National Mall, but other citizens entering it are being arrested or ticketed. Again, the illegal aliens are the army to drive down wages and the political group to break up the United States down the road into the larger global system. They break up original countries and then put them into super regions. That's the official plan. The plan of Aslan, which was created by the Ford Foundation in the 60s, is taught under U.S. federal grants in Mexico since 1965. On record. Go look it up. Our government, which is really globalist, teaches that from Texas to Oklahoma, through Colorado to California, up into Oregon is really Mexico. Of course, it was Mexico, Spain, Russia, everything else. France, I mean, of course, everybody was grabbing it. But the point here is the natives before fought with each other over it. People romanticize Native Americans. It was definitely a noble people, like anybody else had interesting qualities, but they were always killing each other for control of the regions. What do you think the Comanche, the lords of the plains, were up to, running around taking over? And I'm certainly proud of my Native American heritage, but let's just get it straight. Extremely warlike, extremely bloodthirsty, up one side and down the other, unless you're talking about a few peaceful tribes that hid out in the desert that nobody else wanted. Now, let's just stop right there. I've kind of gone off on a jag. The point here, ladies and gentlemen, is that the system is absolutely, totally out of control. Let's continue. 6th grade assignment, destroy the Bill of Rights under the Common Core curricula. Not only is 2 + 2 = 5, you heard me right, but now the Bill of Rights must be destroyed. We're going to be breaking that down. That's up on Infowars.com. And then this story, breaking nationally at Infowars.com. This is in the Eagle Tribune. This is what their writer and what the tour guide said. The tour guide pulls up at the privately owned hotel that's on the edge of a national park, and armed park ranger police drew down on the seniors with guns and made them get down while they searched them and took over the bus and then held them for hours at the hotel, literally treating them like terrorists. Okay, you understand? The illegal aliens, they can do whatever they want. They're having illegal alien rallies all over the place, socialist events, you name it, at national parks. I've got stacks of articles. It's like, by the way, no one can come in but the illegal aliens and communists. This is just all a demonstration of, by the way, if you're a graduate student in a government program, you get basically free Obamacare. Nobody else does. It's a class system, folks, just like under the Nazis. I mean, we are in mega trouble. I am shocked by how evil, how obvious all this is. I just can't believe it. They're definitely trying to cause some type of civil war. So we've got that article. The local paper called it Gestapo tactics used to detain tourists in locked hotel. So they locked up the hotel, aimed guns at people getting off tour buses. Imagine being these federal police park rangers, because I've been around them. I love national parks, but they don't want you there. And when you go now, I mean, they will come over and bug your eyes out. My son threw an empty water bottle like 5 feet, and it went into a trash can when I was at Big Bend. And they had like this Gestapo that's volunteer park rangers following people around, and the guy popped out from behind a bush and he goes, "You're lucky that didn't miss." And I went, "Excuse me?" And he said, "Technically it's littering if it would hit the ground." And I just went, and then this guy followed us up the mountain, and I didn't want to ruin our trip and make my dad get mad or Rob Dew get mad, because Rob Dew and his son were with us. And they noticed the guy followed us all the way up a mountain. I mean, I'm talking thousands of feet. And the guy was following us. Just on a weird power trip. And when I got back down the mountain, I went and asked the park rangers, because you got the regular park rangers, the armed park rangers that are police, and then these Gestapo people. And I said, "So you've got volunteers out here?" And they go, "That's right. And they have the power to arrest." And I was just like Twilight Zone. And I just can't handle it. I'm freaking out right now. Hold on. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out right now. And the public is just stumbling around like zombies. Do you understand, folks, that tour buses pulling up at national parks, armed police run out with firearms pointed at people? There's articles about mainline vitamin companies and mainline mining operations where SWAT teams show up, not with warrants, but for routine inspections now. Every division of the federal government is now wearing military uniforms, and they show up with M4s. That's M16s, ladies and gentlemen. And I've talked to the people. They're in the news. They will stand there, and some of the companies I've talked to won't go on air. They're so scared, and actually point M4s at them for hours. And then people just start quitting the companies and leaving and running in fear, and the feds are all laughing. I mean, we have been hijacked by criminal forces, and it's getting worse. And the feds are giving orders to see who will follow the orders to be promoted. But, I mean, we're talking about crazed-eyed demons everywhere taking over. Illegal aliens, you name it, having these big events, nobody else allowed in. They're showing us that we're dog meat. They're showing us we're the lowest form of crud. Again, Valley Forge, gigantic, huge. Most of it's private. We just had reporters up there a few months ago shooting B-roll for Obama deception. They're also at Mount Vernon. And if you jog along the edge of the national park, they have police waiting to run out and give you a ticket to teach you total and complete submission. You are a slave. You are scum. You are trash. Now they've got TSA on the highway, searching families, groping. State police nationwide being trained to do, without warrants, without even probable cause, proctology exams on your wife in front of you. And if you don't like it, they will gun you down. They want to gun you down. That, I'm telling you, folks, they are taking over. They are taking over. The police everywhere, narcotics trafficking, sex trade. I mean, a mafia runs America, okay? You need to understand that. And if they're not, there's just some naive cop who writes tickets all day and responds to, home invasions and stuff. You either got cops that are out there writing tickets is low level, but everybody mid-level and above is basically mafia now in most areas. I mean, we're rotten. America rotted, ladies and gentlemen. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. We'll get you up and on the air. Let me just try to get through these headlines. Runner fined $100 at Valley Forge amid government shutdown, CBS News. CNS News. NIH stops therapy dogs from visiting sick children. Cannot make this up. The gyms, golf courses, and private jets, and believe me, the taxpayer paid for cream of American beauty. All the young women are there servicing as well as your sons right now. Let's continue. To go to D.C. It's unbelievable. Nothing but limos with congressmen and ambassadors just packed full of your children. They just left home a year ago to be stars and found out there's nothing but a sex trade left. By the way, that was in the news yesterday that sugar daddy stuff's way up with the government shutdown. The 17% that have been laid off. Why not? You were government whores before. Now you're just now you're just becoming actually a physical prostitute. I think that's a better job morally than taking old ladies' houses. Of course, that's all staying open in the government, taking people's houses and stuff who can't pay the taxes. That's all continuing. So let's continue here with the news. Feds hold seniors at gunpoint during National Park shutdown. Let me just read you this. This is breaking at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Gestapo tactics used to detain tourists in locked hotel. Feds use Gestapo tactics to treat senior citizens like terrorists during a shutdown of Yellowstone National Park, placing them under armed guard in locked hotel as panicked tourists thought they had been arrested, vowing never to return to America. Oh, yeah, the foreigners are freaking out. So some of them, imagine, are like older foreigners, and they're being locked up, and there's lockdowns, and crazy-eyed, weirdo, authoritarian North Korea wannabe police running around on power trips. Pat Valancourt was part of a tour group of senior citizens from Japan, Australia, and Canada, and the United States who were in Yellowstone National Park when the government shutdown was announced last week. When the party briefly exited their tour bus to take photos of a herd of bison, they were aggressively ordered by armed National Park Service rangers to, oh, I've been there, they're so rude, to get back in the vehicle on the grounds that they were involved in recreation, and that wasn't permitted during the shutdown. The group had booked a stay in the hotel with the park, and there's local news articles about it where they would draw guns on people, you name it, were soon turned into a prison as the visitors were told to remain in the building until their stay expired, despite the fact that the tour guide had already paid the $300 fee to enter the park. And let's stop. Then they wouldn't let them leave and posted armed guards. I mean, these people are ready to put us in forced labor camps. They give one order. You've seen the Obama supporters in the Mark Dyson our videos. 90%, should we kill the gun owners? Yes. Should we murder the babies? Yes. For Obama. For Obama. These are authoritarian, gibbering nobodies who crave power over liberty and freedom and success. They'd rather have power over somebody than have $1 million in the bank.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
By the way, I'm reading Paul Watson's headline that's in local papers, but it's not broken nationally. And the headline isn't even hardcore enough. Because reading the local news descriptions and then what we have in our article, for days they had armed guards around the Yellowstone lodges that I've actually stayed in America Destroyed by Design, that film I made 16 years ago. And I was blown away by how rude the park rangers were there. That was the first time I would just really experienced it. And it was all like politically correct weirdos. It was all women mainly. Like a bunch of Janet Reno, Rachel Maddow lookalikes. Big Sis lookalikes. They all looked like Big Sis meets Rachel Maddow meets Janet Reno's Gluteus Maximus. And I'd be 20 feet away from an elk, just walking out of the restaurant or wherever. We'd be getting footage of it. And they'd run over and say, "Those are dangerous. You don't need to be close to that." And I'm like, I just walked out the front here. And it was all just about henpecking and being the boss. And, oh, then they threatened to arrest us. I forgot that. We have that on tape. For walking in going, "Hi, we're here for the UN sign. We'd like to talk about how this is under UN control in UNESCO." And they're like, "Turn that off. We're going to arrest you." It's all on footage. I'm like, "Hi." I mean, back then I was like a 180-pound guy. Looked like I was a Calvin Klein model or something. And I'm totally polite being nice to the women, and they just didn't want me. I mean, imagine, you can't be clean cut in a polo shirt and super polite. They didn't even know who I was, and they threatened to arrest me. This is who's going to run America. They're going to run everything, ladies and gentlemen. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? They will take your house. They will take your kids. They will line you up and blow your head off if they can, because they want the power. I deal with a lot of people in business, and I've really been learning, and so has all my associates, especially now. With companies and people, they don't even want to be successful and make money nowadays. They want to have power over you and obstruct you. You can call up and say, "Hey, this is a really good thing you have. I want 10,000 of them. I want a good price." "Oh, no, we're just not going to sell to you." Why? Is it because we are politically? No, we just want to say no. We feel powerful. They actually tell you. And it's like, "Oh, well, that's what you'd rather." I mean, and it's happening everywhere. I'm sure you're noticing it. Just the petty, spoiled, rotten suicidalness of this culture. The self-destructiveness, the ninnying, the weakness of all these people. They are the biggest piles of weakness and pathetic ignorance I've ever seen, and they hate anyone who's smart, anyone who's good-looking, anyone who's successful, anyone who's dynamic, and they just rule over everything, ruling armies of weak idiots everywhere. And the globalists have the exact view I have. They just want to kill everybody. But then I look at them, they're even more degenerate and out of control than the general public. I mean, we're between a rock and a hard place, folks. I can tell you right now. You go out and talk to the average yuppie. You say, you know, they're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. Here's the documents. You know, this is designed to lower our IQ. And a lot of them go, I know, there are too many people. And you go, yeah, but it's affecting you too. Whatever. They don't even care. They just have bad will towards everyone. They don't want to feel like they're under attack. So they just go, I don't care. I don't care if there's toll roads owned by Spain ripping me off. I don't care if they double the power prices. I don't care if I get cheated. They are the ultimate. It is a spirit of just servile, demonic giggliness. I don't know how to describe it. To the point of, I'm reading these local news reports, and Watson got a tip from a listener about this. We're going to get some photos of this anytime going up on the site. Imagine for days you're stuck, illegally arrested. That's what that is, official oppression. By armed Janet Renos, with, you know, just strutting around on power trips, and you're locked in a hotel, and the foreigners are scared, running to the airport. They're running to Denver, running in fear, saying, we'll never come back, we're getting out of here. Foreign countries are putting travel advisories on the U.S. saying they may secretly arrest you. Turns out Obama has secret prison torture ships. They always had those. He didn't shut down black sites in Poland and Romania and Egypt. They've expanded them. But now they've got torture dungeons on board ships. That's in the Associated Press today. This is the mega magnitude of what people are like, well, we only torture bad guys. Folks, they run Al-Qaeda. They only did this to sell the idea of torture. Do you understand? The government runs everything. They run the child kidnapping, the snuff films, the hardcore porn industry, the drug industry, the prescription drug industry, all of it. They are a mass of criminal evil who predatorily look down on everyone, and they're converting the culture over to their system. Just like they announced last year and this year, all the big beaches they were going to close and not let humans swim, remember? Saying that we're going to have it for the earth. It's all about, under feudalism, they tell you you have no rights and exercise the power over you. This is enslavement. So when we come back, we're going to go to your phone calls. I haven't even gotten into the surface of the shutdown news, how they're just arresting and ticketing and SWAT teaming and harassing and holding veterans at gunpoint for going to, I mean, it's just insane. Are we choosing our own destiny, or has it been pre-selected for us?
As we've moved through history, every great leader has had to understand the potential of information.
Billions of dollars have been spent, privately and publicly, looking at how to tap into your psyche.
From compulsory state education to the Hollywood media brainwashing machine, we are kept in perpetual bondage to the ideas that shape our actions.
When somebody obscures that feedback loop between you observing and testing it out and verifying it, they can take total control of your awareness.
All of this is happening so fast, you need to be ahead of the game.
How to engineer the opinion of the American people so that they would not only endorse but demand a war.
Oh, there's another one. Another plane just hit.
State of Mind, because there's a war on for your mind. Get your copy of State of Mind, the movie, at Infowars.com. And remember, every order at InfoWarsStore.com receives a free citizen rulebook. All right, I'm going to your phone calls here in a moment, and I'm trying to not go into a rage here on air, but reading these local newspaper descriptions of people locked for days inside the Yellowstone Hotel in lodges with armed police strutting around telling them they were prisoners, which is totally illegal, to let the people in, take their money, and then hold them in the hotel, saying you're not even allowed to leave. It just shows the ecstasy of the power trip. It shows how they're trying to implement it. It shows how any power they can grab, they're going to do it. Just like the state police of Texas for 2 years have officially backed police that pull you over, no probable cause, no nothing, and bend you over a car and put their hand inside your body. And if that humiliation isn't enough, they go over to another person and do it with the same glove. One glove, 2 women, 4 insertions. And I hate to have to talk like that on air, but you need to understand we're animals to these people, and they're here to exercise power over us and break our will. Now, the average state trooper doesn't know why he's engaged in this psych warfare operation, but I have the Army training manuals from the 60s, and I have their training films. And this is what you do when you're terrorizing and breaking a population. Because if they can fully degrade us, we will think they can do anything. Because they're getting us ready to start arresting us and taking us to forced labor centers, which they've built into the Emergency Centers Establishment Act, Rex 84, Garden Plot, Cable Splicer, the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program. By the way, they have National Geographic and people come out and say there's no FEMA camps. Yeah, there's nothing called concentration camps. It'd be like, you know, if you had a hotel that was really a crack house. It's not going to say crack house, you know, hookers on the 2nd floor. You think the Watergate Hotel in D.C. tells you that they got whole floors of hookers and gambling and everything else going on there famously? Ongoing? Who was the CIA director had to step down a few years ago up there at the party? It's the same deal. You know, they label all this Homeland Security. What it really is total absolute evil. And I'm just realizing how over the top it is, and their federal minions are following orders. They've had a few senior people with the Park Service who aren't criminals come out and say, we've been ordered to make people miserable, and it's disgusting. That's a quote. Senior Park Service Ranger. We've been ordered to make people miserable, and it's disgusting. No, it's criminal. Because if you really had a government shutdown and they really had laid off most of the park rangers, which they haven't, that's on record, they would say, okay, well, this canyon's closed in this area because these are deemed to be dangerous, areas, or it's, go into these areas at your own risk. And that's how it'd be handled. But see, just like they've banned dodgeball 10 years ago, now they're banning bringing a football to school to play during recess, or they're banning running or playing tag. The nanny state is really a prison state, and they know it is. It's not like they're misguided liberals. These are not liberals. These are social engineers who know full well what they're doing. Now, their average minion's just a typecast, psychologically tested control freak who wants to exercise power over people and doesn't want money or success or liberty or to be honorable. I mean, an honorable, powerful person would be embarrassed to go around henpecking people. Even when you're in the right and got to tell somebody they're wrong, you don't enjoy it. It's just got to be done. But you see the imperious, remember the TSA ad last year? It said, we want to hire people with an imperious attitude. You know the definition of imperious? It's imperial, overbearing, domineering, arrogant. A king to his vassal is one of the definitions. And how does government act? A king to his vassals, his slaves, assuming power or authority without justification, arrogant and domineering. That's the Webster, Merriam-Webster. In fact, let's look at the other definition below it. Having or showing a proud and unpleasant attitude of someone who gives orders and expects others to obey them. The ad for the TSA is, we want someone to be imperious. And that's why when I go to the TSA now, and they're going, shiz off, I go, hey, you guys know the government runs the terrorist. And at first they get really excited, hoping I'm going to say, the government blew up stuff so they can claim I'm doing a bomb threat and charge me with a fake felony. The felony is saying there's a bomb when there isn't. The felony is not saying that all this bomb stuff's fake. But the point is, I don't go that far. It doesn't matter. Then I say, this is all a fraud and all a scam, and you're all getting cancer in here roasting. I'm not talking about the body scanners when they start going, they told us it's safe. I go, I'm talking about those X-ray machines right there, much more powerful than a chest X-ray and not shielded. You better look up the studies. And they go, hey, Alex, just move on through. Anywhere I'm at, doesn't matter where I'm at. Flew into Dallas. Went through 3 different checkpoints. I'm going through the final one before I go back through TSA to fly to Austin. One of the only countries that does this. And the woman's going, oh, your passport's only got a year on it. You need to get that updated. And I looked at her and I said, so you're saying it's wrong? She goes, I'm just saying. She's looking at me, going, got any drugs? And I said, no, I don't bring the drugs in like I know you guys do full well here. She started shaking. Just get on out of here. And all of a sudden, a captain walks over and starts shaking my hand. Alex Jones, just want to say I really appreciate what you're doing. She didn't dare get imperious with him because they just threatened to quit flying. Remember, they used to make them go through TSA? Till they talked about how ridiculous it was. We need to just say no. And I started going, no, wait a minute. You know full well that you guys are you know, one of the biggest ports of entry for drugs and everything. You're asking me about drugs when the government's on record bringing in most of the drugs. She's like, sir, just please get out of here. Oh, it's not fun anymore, is it? It's not fun anymore to dominate people, you bully. Make me sick. You people make me sick because you're so weak, but you want to act all powerful. And like you're in control of everything. You're in control of nothing, scum. You people are so delusional. You got 91% of world reactors leaking now. You don't even care if nuclear reactors are leaking now. You're that delusional and narcissistic and pathetic that you don't even care about the planet or the future of our species. Sorry, I started having flashbacks. These people make me want to throw up. It's all about how we're bad. We're suspected drug dealers. We're suspected terrorists. We're suspected money launderers. We're criminals when they're the ones running the whole criminal show. They're the same type of people that would come into your grocery store 100 years ago in New York or New Jersey with the Italian mafia, feeding on fellow Italians and saying, hey, there's going to be a fire. You heard about Luigi's getting burned down last week. If you don't pay me money and hire my cousin, there's going to be a fire. I want to protect your business. You don't want to protect jack crap. You want to make me your slave, and I'd rather die before I become your slave. You got that? Victory or death, liberty or death. I am never backing down to you scum. All right, I said to go to your phone calls. I just... People are like, this guy's a maniac. No, this is what freedom looks like, ladies and gentlemen. This is the attitude of not being a slave. And all of you out there that want to get on your knees and suck black boots, you go ahead and do it all day long. But I'm telling you, from the lowest level cop right up to the president, this government's criminal. Does that mean the cop is a bad person himself or herself? No. But they're not going to be on their force long when the federalization comes, as is already happening, if they don't play ball with the New World Order. They want to be in the press conference with the president. They want to be part of the winning team. You're not on the winning team. You're on a sinking ship. You're a bunch of termites trying to eat through the hull, thinking you're winning, when all you're going to do is bring the whole ship down into the North Atlantic. Let me read you some of these headlines, and I'm going to your calls. So let's read the headlines. Park Service OK's immigration reform rally on closed National Mall. That's right. But on the very same mall, people are being ticketed and fined. Here's one nearby. Running fine, $100 at Valley Forge. Runner fined amid government shutdown for running on the sidewalk. You don't use that sidewalk, scum. By the way, it turned out that Valley Forge sidewalk and stuff isn't even federally paid for or built. Doesn't matter. The scum is taken over. NIH stops therapy dogs from visiting sick children, just like they told all the preachers on the bases, even the volunteers. You go to somebody when their mama dies and they're crying trying to call their priest or their pastor, we're going to arrest you. And you know what all the preachers did, except for the Catholic diocese? They got on their knees and followed orders because they're 501c3 government run. They love it. They're off fishing right now. They don't want to really go help people. They want to follow orders. If Christ would have been like these people, the Pharisees would have told them to do what they said, and then Christ would have got on his knees and said, yes, sir, Romans 13, you're the spiritual government. I do what you say. Christ would have hit his knees right there. They got preachers all over TV. We've played the clips saying the Christians were wrong to not worship the idols in Rome and to be thrown to the lions. They were bad for going to their deaths. They weren't heroes. They weren't honorable. They weren't the example of strength and honor and stoicism. They were bad, according to these little filthy demon preachers that you know are doing you know what behind the scenes. Bunch of, Oh, boy. Let's continue. here. Signs at National Mall closed, but immigration reform rally is a go. But hey, if you were inside a federal park or on the edge of it, they're going to hold you at gunpoint and kidnap you. And if they catch you trying to even park on state-run or state-owned turnoffs outside of Mount Rushmore, they're going to block those. They're going to block state-run boat ramps on the Mississippi because they're working overtime against their enemy. They're the federal family. They're foreign banker run. Their religion is that we're all scum. The New World Order government religion is that they're God and we're all trash. Get your fiscal house in order. China warns U.S. as Asia expresses concern over $1.3 trillion of investments. China, built by the New World Order. Mao, put in power by the U.S. Army and the Pentagon in 1949, on record declassified, 2003. Sold our fake imaginary debt, signed on to derivatives, and they're now lobbying and telling us that we're indebted to them. We've already given $47 trillion to the foreign banks, $1.3 trillion the Chinese bought. And now they're lecturing us and telling us they run the show. House GOP won't pursue short-term debt ceiling deal for now. And so the markets are being rocked. Debt limit taking center stage in impasse. Obama says it's the Tea Party's fault and that, why, we're going to have an implosion if we don't do what he says. That's how they hold us hostage. They've maneuvered us into this fake debt so they could do this. On record. That's Wall Street Journal. Totally evil. Here's an analyst article out of Reuters. U.S. banks get ready for the day when deposits shrink. U.S. banks are nudging from regulators or planning for the day when the economy recovers. That means when we're all totally on government dole. Rates rise and depositors yank money from safe but low-paying accounts. Yeah, right. Let's go to your phone calls. So imagine you go to Yosemite, you go to the Grand Canyon, you're in your private lodge, privately run, private restaurants, private everything. You drive in, you park rangers are bugging their eyes out at you. Mad that you're driving a nice car, whatever. They're all part of a green cult. You go in, all of a sudden, they're running up and down the halls going, lockdown, lockdown, no one's allowed to leave, government shutdown. And for days you're stuck there. Tour buses pull in with Japanese and Germans and Canadians on them. They walk off and get back in the vehicle. They've got their guns. I mean, these people are freaking out, saying, I'm never coming back here. America is a fascist country. These are the quotes. And you know what? It is. I'll guarantee you the Nazis, unless they already had your name and number and were coming after you, they didn't just randomly, when, tourists in 1937 would visit from France or anything, run up to their bus and pull guns on them. The Ecuadorian president has now compared the U.S. to Nazi Germany. I mean, folks, I've been in Latin America, Central America, you name it. I mean, it's nothing like this now. I mean, the cops don't bug their eyes out at you like this in Mexico. They might come over and shake you down. Oh, very sorry, need tip. But, I mean, it's not just like tour bus pulls up and they pull guns out and run up aiming it at you. It's like mentally ill, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they're just tyrants. They just want your money. But see, not the control freaks that run America. They want to dominate you. They want to humiliate you. They want to let you know you're a slave. They get up on MSNBC in promos and say, your kids belong to us now. And laugh at you. And they get up on MSNBC and lie with no proof. Don't even show the Boston Bombers did it because Alex Jones, he's their prophet, and he's deeply racist. It just shows what authoritarian, conscious demons they are, and they hate America and they hate freedom so much, they'll throw any weapon at us. Anything, because they know they're sinking. They know the people are awake to them. They know the people are aware of what they're up to. Alex Jones here to warn you about some of the most important health information you may ever hear. I'm talking about radiation, radioactive fallout, radioactive particles contaminating the northern hemisphere. Conservatively, since the 1940s, the northern hemisphere of our planet has more than doubled its background radiation. In fact, that was before Fukushima exploded. Now the levels are going up and up and up. Fish are contaminated in the Pacific, and the FDA, the EPA, and others, they're not worried about it. They've been raising the levels of what they claim is safe radioactive particles. Well, I began to discuss with my wife protecting myself, her, and of course our children. Most importantly, I have 3 small children, ages 10, 9, and 5. Radiation really affects children more than adults because they have fast-growing cells. All the literature is clear on that. And I went and talked to medical doctors, scientists, nuclear physicists, nutritionists, and I said, what's the number one thing I can do to protect my family? And they said, Alex, it's leave the northern hemisphere. Go south of the equator. That's where the radiation levels are very, very low. If you look at the wind patterns, the north hardly interacts with the south. And it's unfortunate that we've done this to our planet. So after more than 2 years of research into how to protect my family, looking at all the literature, talking to the experts, across the board they agreed iodine is key. But of the family of iodine, nascent, natural, non-GMO, non-factory iodine that comes from the earth is absolutely paramount for your thyroid and other functions in the body. The literature, the research, it's there. It's not my opinion. It is admitted that iodine is essential for the health of our bodies overall, and nascent iodine is the best form. Now, we're announcing the launch of InfoWarsLife.com, and we're going to bring you scores of products over the next few years that we're researching and developing. But nascent iodine is the first product we're coming out with because it's so important, and it's also listed as a fluoride detoxer. It does so many other things. Your body needs it, and when you don't have enough iodine, forget the radiation, your thyroid absorbs the sodium fluoride and other things. And it's the good iodine, the nascent iodine, that is able to block that and just do so many things for your body and your health. I've been taking it. It's amazing. It's a lot better than coffee, I'm here to tell you. And that's why we are now offering our own nascent iodine that's double the strength, made in the best laboratory that is FDA certified and accredited. And it is double strength at half the price of the leading competitor. You know my rule. Bring you the highest quality products at the lowest prices we can, so it's a win-win-win. I believe in you reap what you sow. So not only do we get the best deal on nascent iodine at InfoWarsLife.com for your general health and also for any type of emergencies or disasters, you will also be getting a great deal and supporting the InfoWar and our news operation, promoting the cure for tyranny, the First Amendment, promoting liberty and a rediscovery of the Bill of Rights and Constitution and true Americana that's made this nation so great. So please join me in being among the first to visit InfoWarsLife.com. We've got discounts if you buy the nascent iodine in bulk. I challenge you to try to find a better deal. We have the best deal out there and the best quality. In closing, here is probably the most important point. You don't just take nascent iodine when disaster strikes, when there's some new giant disaster. The Northern Hemisphere is already double what it was 60 years ago with the radioactive background. I believe from the research I've done and the experts I've talked to, it is key to take nascent iodine to protect your thyroid from the radiological disaster that's already happened. And unfortunately, future disasters that will happen. That's why it's important to fill your thyroid up now with the healthy nascent iodine so that the sodium fluoride, the radioactive isotopes, and the rest of it can't get in. That's the key. This is something that across the board has been shown in study after study to be an absolutely essential nutrient in the body. Until a few decades ago, the government put it in the salt because they knew you needed it. But then they took that out, that's good for the thyroid, and put the sodium fluoride in that's bad for it. Talk about eugenics, talk about soft kill, talk about an invisible weapon in the water supply. This stuff is on record as a detoxifier for the fluoride they're adding to our water. Nascent iodine and InfoWars Life Survival Shield in double strength at half the cost of the leading competitors. Please visit InfoWarsLife.com today.
you.